Howdy, folks, and welcome to the first episode of Wine It Down, the show where we end your day with a tall glass of wine, just the way you like it. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm Kevin Childs, your host as always. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what it is we're tasting today. Today we're going to be drinking an Unoaked Chardonnay from Sterling Vineyards. This is a fairly good vintage. This is the 2015. You can see by the label and the stamp, this is a winery-only wine. So you have to pick this up at the winery if you do want to get it. So if anybody living in the Northern California region up by Napa Valley, we're talking people in San Ramon, San Francisco, that kind of area, you'll be able to drive up there. Short trip, beautiful day trip, go to Sterling. They have an amazing view, amazing winery. One of the only actually the only winery in the world that has a gondola. Now for my people who are up in upstate New York, here's a fun fact. Everybody knows I like to give you all some fun facts. The gondola that is made for Sterling Vineyards is basically a ski lift that takes you up to the top of the vineyard. That ski lift was made in Watertown, New York. So, shout out to all y'all out there from Watertown. You know who you are. Don't act like you don't. Anywho, so the tasting notes on this are very straightforward. Because it's an unoaked Chardonnay, you're not looking at a lot of complexity. You're not looking at the sort of things that you would see in a traditional Chardonnay, where you have a lot of that butter, a lot of that forward oakiness because it's been soaked in those new French oak sort of barrels. That 75% new French oak is what you're really looking for a really strong, pungent Chardonnay. So this is very much a new wine drinker's wine, in my opinion. This is something that you would drink if you're not really a huge wine connoisseur. When you go to grab a Chardonnay, you want it to be crisp. You're not looking for that real strong, buttery flavor. You're not looking for that really strong oakiness that a lot of Chardonnays have with them, where you can kind of taste, and you're like, oh, this tastes like I'm drinking a barrel. So, in this instance, because it is an unoaked Chardonnay, it is made in steel barrels. Those steel barrels give it a very light, fruity flavor. We're talking about apricots, pears. Those kind of things that you're going to get are a lot of the things that are going to be very forward on the palate on this. It finishes very clean. It's not like some of the other unoaked Chardonnays that you see where you're going to get a very, very light color. In this instance, it's still going to have a nice golden yellow to it, but it's not going to have, like I said, those stronger flavors that you would expect from other Chardonnays. So let's go ahead. We'll do our 3-taste sip. Remember, the golden rule of wine tasting, 3 sips per tasting. So that means for each wine, you're going to want to drink it 3 times. The reason behind this is the first time you're drinking it, you're cleaning your palate. Perhaps you've tasted other wines that same day, so it's going to interfere with the actual flavor of the wine. The second sip you're going to have is going to be the taste that's going to coat your tongue. That's going to bring out a little bit more of the natural flavors, but it's that third sip that's the one that's going to give you the actual profile of the wine. Your mouth is now coated and it's ready to accept all the flavor that particular wine you're drinking has. So don't cheat yourself, treat yourself. 3 sips, folks. Now, let's take a look at this. Here's what it looks like in the glass. Now, like I said, that very golden yellow color. This is what you really see in a lot of Chardonnays, is this kind of color. Now, you can see there's a little frost on the glass, so let me do this. Let me go ahead and clean that off a scotch. And do this, you can just use any rag, really. Not that you're going to go ahead and clean your frosted glasses, but in that case, you can see frost on the back, but in the front, very golden color, very light. Give it a little swirl. Remember, always smell your wine before you drink it. That opens up the palate to accept the full flavor of the wine. Give it a good nose. Take a breath out. Another good nose. And while you're breathing in the residual air, then you take your sips. A little swirl in the mouth. Give it a little bit of flavor. Coating the tongue. That's one. Gives it the cut off the front of the tongue. Now you could really start to pick up a little bit more of the flavors of the grape. Now you're starting to experience a little bit more of what it is. It comes to the back of the tongue, and what that does is that allows those bitter receptors that are on the back of your tongue to start to sort of allow it to soak in a little bit more. Now that you've had that full flavor in your mouth, your third flavor, the full flavor of the wine, will now come about. Let's go ahead and do that. That is spectacular. Now, the number one thing I like about this type of wine, Unoaked Chardonnays particularly, is like I said, if you're not really into wine, this will get you there. This is like the biggest stepping stone you can have, and that's why it's episode 1. Because for a lot of people out there who may be watching this, you're not really big into wine yet. You're not getting deep into like crazy reds and like things that are going to make your soul kind of feel like it's a bit flighty. Not yet. For you, this is something you want on a nice warm summer day. Something's going to be crisp and refreshing, but not a bottle of liquor, right? Something that says, I'm classy, but I'm still a little sassy without being a bit assy. You know what I'm talking about? All right, folks. So thank you very much. This is our wine review. Remember, always, whenever you taste wines, and this is for everyone who does and everyone who doesn't drink, always journal it. Journal your wine entries. Remember, when you're doing that, you may not remember what the wine tasted like. And that's not because you're drunk. It's because after the end of a long day of wine tasting, let's say you go to 2 wineries, 3 wineries, you've had so much different stuff that you don't know what tasted good and what didn't. You ended up buying bottles that you don't know if you like. So write it down. Make sure that you have a good wine journal. I use this one. I got this at a half-price books, I believe, for I think like 45 cents, 50 cents, something like that. But I journal everything that I drink. That allows me to be able to tell you exactly what I think about it. So thank you very much, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like this, hit the like button. And even, you know what? Give us a subscribe. If you do, that's fantastic. If you don't, well, that's cool too. I'll still be your buddy. So we'll be here next week with another episode. What we're going to be getting into next week is probably a little bit darker. We're going to take this, because it is October, we're going to go into some reds. But we're not going to get too crazy. We'll start with Pinot Noir and we'll work our way down. After that, we'll see where those cabs favor us right around Halloween time. As always, have a great day. And don't forget, at the end of it, always wind down.